You know, when he first came in the NHL, a lot of people didn't take him seriously, even when he led the Montreal Canadiens to a 67 Stanley Cup final berth against the Maple Leafs. That fucking asshole Punch Imlach said he was a junior B goalie, wanted to rattle him. If anything, this guy was not a junior B goalie. No disrespect, junior B in from the late 50s to the early 60s in Canada was quite good, but this guy was much more than just a goalie. He was a legend, a good developer, a good teammate, and was the number one goalie for the greatest Team Canada of all time, in my personal opinion, the 1976 Canada Cup squad for our nation. So we only can be talking about one guy, the guy whose name is so French. It's only Canadiens and Quebecois can fully pronounce it correctly. Rogie Vachon. Now, Rogie Vachon played with the Habs, the Kings, the Red Wings, and Bruins in NHL from 67 to 82. The native of Montreal, Quebec, not the tallest drink of water, a handsome guy, but 5'8", 160. He only became well known when he started putting on a mask. His early season in the NHL, he didn't wear a mask, and he was just, just a young guy, 25, 26 years of age when he first came into major prominence after being traded by the Habs. Now, he entered the NHL in 67 with the Canadiens as a backup goalie to Gump Worsley. He played only 19 games that season, but played most of the games in the playoffs, and again led the Habs to the Stanley Cup Finals. They lost to Toronto in a very, very tough 6-game series, but now Vachon now has a permanent spot on the Canadiens roster. Punch Imlach, the coach of the Leafs, referred to Vachon as a junior B goalie in an attempt to rattle him during the Stanley Cup playoffs, but of course, I think it's the curse of Rogie Vachon because they haven't won a cup since. Now, Vachon played 39 games in 68 and won 23 of them. He and Worsley shared the Vezina Trophy with a combined 226 goals against average, the lowest since 59. Montreal won the Stanley Cup that season in the final against St. Louis, and in 68-69 as well. During the 1970 campaign, Worsley was traded to the North Stars and Vachon got the starting job, but the Canes missed the playoffs. Now here's the controversy comes in. The next season, you had Philip Meagher, Rogie Vachon, and Ken Dryden battling for number one. After losing the Canadiens starting job to rookie Ken Dryden in the following season, early in 72, Vachon requested a trade for a team that needed a starter, which happened on November 4th, 71, when he was sent to the Kings for Dennis Desjardins, another goalie, forward defenseman Dale Hoganson, defenseman Noel Price, and Doug Robinson. No confusion with Larry or Mo. It was what the Kings that Vachon had the finest moments of his NHL career. Now, with the Kings, it was almost comparable to when Gretzky came over. Not to the same level, but for goaltending, it put the Kings on the map, and his famous two-king mask became one of the most popular one in NHL history. He was runner-up for the Vezina Trophy in 75 and made the second All-Star team in 75 and 77. He was named Kings MVP 4 times between 73 and 77, and in one game in 77, it appeared he was due credit for scoring a goal when the Islanders scored on himself during a delayed penalty. However, after video review, the goal was credited to Vic Vanaski after it was determined that Vachon was the second to last Kings player to touch the puck before it went in the net. Vachon also set many goalie records in Kings history that still stand. His number 30 was the first number retired by the Kings in a ceremony on February 14, 85. He has since served in a variety of executive positions with the Kings organization and done a great job, of course. Now, in 76, Vachon was chosen to play for Canada along with fellow goalies Jerry Cheevers and Glenn Resch. That year, Ken Dryden begged out of starting for Canada after probably the debacle in 72. Vachon was given the top spot and played in every game of the tournament. He recorded 6 wins and 1 loss, 2 shutouts, and a 139 goals against average. Canada did win the tournament, and Vachon was selected for the All-Star team and was named team MVP. Of course, best known at the end of the game when they exchanged jerseys with Team Czechoslovakia. Him and Pete Mahovlich, I think, had the greatest time doing that as a symbol of anti-USSR feeling at the time. Now, when Vachon became a restricted free agent following the 78 season, he decided to sign with the Red Wings. A lot of people thought he was either going to come back to Montreal or even Toronto. The 5-year deal was juicy as it paid Vachon $1.9 million and made the league's highest paid goalie. Vachon did struggle from the beginning in Detroit. In his first game, he managed just 9 saves against 14 shots in a game Detroit lost 5-4. As the year wore on, things did not improve for Vachon. Red Wings coach Bobby Crom told SI, "When we signed Vachon, we thought we improved our club and give ourselves a good 1-2 goalie punch as there was in hockey, but it hasn't worked out that way." Further complicating things was the distraction that Vachon's signing created for the squad. Because he was a restricted free agent, the Red Wings were required to give compensation to the Kings, Vachon's former club. An arbitrator ruled that young center Dale McCord, of all people, whom the Red Wings had selected first overall in '77, would go to the Kings. McCord, who had led the Red Wings in scoring as a rookie in '78, refused to report to LA and sued the league. In his first season with the Wings, Vachon allowed a goal more per game than he had the previous season, and in his second season he continued to struggle, posting numbers below his career averages. To his credit, he gained distinction recording the Red Wings' first victory in their new home, the beautiful Joe Louis Arena. Now, after 2 disappointing seasons with the Red Wings, Detroit traded him to the Bruins in the summer of '80 for fellow netminder Gilles Gilbert. In Boston, Vachon, who was pretty well the number one that year, served as a mentor to rookie goalers Marco Bato and Jim Craig, who had starred for the U.S. national team at the '80 Winter Olympics. Vachon played 53 games for the Bruins and improved his numbers marginally from his time in Detroit. He also won more games than he lost for the first time since leaving L.A. However, in the postseason, things went poorly as the Bruins were swept in 3 controversial games by the North Stars as he surrendered 20 goals in the process. Now, Vachon allowed 5 goals in the first game, then gave up 6 in Game 2 before getting pulled. He gave up 5 more goals in Game 3 and ended the playoffs with a rough .585 goals against average. In the '82 campaign, Bato took over the starting job for Vachon, who played 38 games as the backup. Vachon's final NHL appearance came in the '82 playoffs when he played 1 period in relief of starter Mike Moffat in a 7-2 loss to the Nordiques. Kind of ironic he would play against Quebec for his final game. He faced just 3 shots in 20 minutes and allowed a power play goal to Peter Stastny. Vachon decided to hang up his pads for good 6 days later. Now, beautiful style in the net, great reflexes and a quick glove hand. He was considered one of the premier one-on-one goalies of his era. He never allowed a goal on a penalty shot in his entire career. After retiring, he served as GM of the Kings from '84 to '92. He was the Kings GM in '88 when he acquired Wayne Gretzky from the Oilers, of course, the Bruce McDonald deal. He also served as interim head coach of the Kings 3 times. On July 27, 2016, he was named an honored member of the Hockey Hall of Fame. It was inducted on November 14, 2016. Why would it take 2 decades? We still don't know. Now, Vachon had a big family of 7 siblings, including himself, and grew up in a dairy farm. He was persuaded to play senior-level hockey at the age of 14 by a coach who was in need of a goalie. He married Nicole Blanchard on November 30th, '71, and he had 3 children, Nicholas, who also played pro hockey, Jade and Marie-Joie, as well as 3 grandchildren. Nicole unfortunately died from brain cancer in February 26, after Rogie and his wife had celebrated 44 years of marriage. Now, notable achievements: named to the QJHL First All-Star team in '66, Stanley Cup titles in '68, '69, '71, Canada Cup winner '76, Vezina winner '68, Canada Cup All-Star team '76, team MVP during the '76 Canada Cup, with Bobby Orr winning tournament honors. He played in the '73, '75, '78 NHL All-Star games, named to the NHL second All-Star team in '75 and '77. His number 30 was retired by the Kings, and he was named to the Hockey Hall of Fame in the Players category in 2016. Of course, his term as an executive was also a factor. Now, ironically, this record will never be broken, by the way. He shares the record with Kelly Rudy for most career ties with LA. Of course, now it's overtime. Now, just a recap of his stats. Quite interesting, actually. First team of major note was the Montreal NDG Monarchs of the MMJHL. He played 29 games. Then had 27 games with the Montreal Junior Canadiens that year as well. Now, for NDG during the Memorial Cup, he won 7-3. Now, Tetford Mine Aces in '65, 10-3 record in 13 games, 14 games with the Juniors in '65, '66, Tetford Mines Aces of the QJHL, 25-13-1. '66 played with the Quebec Aces of the AHL, 6-4. Montreal's affiliate, the Houston, saw him in '67, 17-12-5. Also played 19 games in the NHL regular season, going 11-3-4, and 6-3 in the postseason. Now, Montreal in 68, technically his rookie campaign, 23-13-2, 1-1 in the playoffs. 69, 22-93, 7-1 in the playoffs, as pretty well their number one goalie. 70, 31-18-12, 71, 23-12-9. Only one game with Montreal in 72, where he gave up 4 goals in a period. 72 his Kings, his first campaign, 6-18-3. And the Kings, between 73 and 78, 52, 65, 54, 51, 68, and 70 contests. 22, 20-10, 28, 26-10, 27, 14-3, 26, 20-5, 33, 23-12, and 29, 27-13 is number one. And 77 debated to the second round, only to be knocked out. Now, Red Wings, it was tough. Both years, his average goals against was more than 3.6. 10, 27-1 in 79, 20, 30, and 8 in 1980. With the Bruins in 81, like I said, he was the number one. 20, 25, 19, and 6. I saw him back-to-back games against Montreal and Quebec midway, and he, like I said, he had lost some weight too. He didn't have the energy, in my opinion. Now 82, 19, 11, and 6. Now 76 in the Canada Cup, 6-1, and the only loss to Czechoslovakia in the prelims. Never played for Team Canada at the World Championships too, by the way. You would think with Detroit not making the playoffs in 79-80, he would have went over. Now coaching record, 84, 1 win, 1 tie. Interim, return to GM. 1 win, 1 game and 1 loss in 88. In 95, 3-2-2. And that team missed the playoffs. And of course, he's on the big list of NHL goalies with 300 wins. And as it stands right now, ladies and gentlemen, the career record 355, 295, and 127. So as it stands right now, just to make sure I'm accurate for you here, as of this writing, he's 24th overall with only a 44.65 win percentage, which is what it is. The one with the highest win total of acting players is Marc-Andre Fleury. Bobrovsky's at 396. John Duquesne's at 393. And I think that he will be top 30 for a while unless something changes. But it's a very interesting because Curtis Joseph is not on the Hall of Fame. He's the only one to list, and he should be in the Hall of Fame. Chris Osgood not in the Hall of Fame. And John Vienna Beesbrook and Andy Moog not in the Hall of Fame. And like I said, most of these people are in the Hall of Fame. And even people, I don't think you'll see Sean Burkin because he only had 40% win percentage. But I think Joseph should be the next one in the Hall of Fame, in my personal opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a story of the man who was 7 feet tall and bulletproof. I think he's one of the most underrated goalies of all time. I really like Rogie's style. And he was never dirty. He was never too aggressive. He was a great teammate. But when you got Ken Dryden and Esposito and Philip Muir and himself and Gump Worsley, him and Worsley were a goal. And this came after Charlie Hodge was let go too. So from the mid-60s, and Maniego was in the mix before that too. So from the mid-60s to the early 70s, you count the goalies. You had Worsley, Vachon, Philip Muir, DeJourdin as well, Dryden, Worsley, all these, Charlie Hodge. So quite the goalie factory. And I think Rogie Vachon, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody's ever said anything bad about him. He's always been a well-respected player. And like I said, the tools of ignorance, like a catcher talks about. You take on the pads, but we loved that double king helmet, boys. That was a beautiful thing. Because back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, not like now, people like goalies for their masks, like Esposito and Dryden and Palmetier and, Jimmy Rutherford with the flying wings and Bernie Parent and all that. So it's I really miss that times in the mid-70s. It was a great time because you could buy baseball cards and you would get stuff in the post boxes and baseball stickers and hockey cards and hockey stickers and all that. So we had the end of baseball season, the hockey season would start, and you'd be trading Rogie Vachon cards for Oakland A's cards. It was a great time because hockey was king. At the biggest, I think hockey's ever been in Canada is that era between probably the first three cups for Toronto in 62, 63, 64 to 79. For that 15 years, boys, you know every player in the NHL, even with the expansion. And we can make fun of Cleveland and California, Jersey, but still say it's our NHL. By the way, I had a follower in the channel the other day, had no idea who the Kansas City Scouts was. So we're getting new fans in the channel, ladies and gentlemen. That's great. So that's the story of the legend of Rogie Vachon. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, just like Rogie, you got to predict your corners. And good luck to the Boston and Toronto fans tomorrow night. You're going to need it because it's the Mr. Boredom and against Mr. Boring. So pick your boredom. There's nothing good to watch in those last two games, ladies and gentlemen. No way Boston's going to win the cup, and if Toronto loses, it's like kissing a horse. You're going to get a bit of hair lip, as we say. Toronto got nothing to celebrate this year, neither do Boston, because you never underestimate your opponent, as I can try and comment. Thanks for listening. Bye.